This is a Get Hired RDH 10-minute training session with your dental hygiene job hunting personal trainer, Doug Perry. And now, here's Coach Perry.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Thanks for joining me this week for this week's training tip for dental hygienists looking for work. I'm excited to bring you what I think is one of the key things that will really help your resume stand out and make a difference in your job hunting search. So hope you'll sit back and kind of take note of a few of these things, because I really think they make a difference. I have seen it happen in not just the dental hygiene field, but others as well. And so hopefully we have something here that will be of help to you to make your resume really stand out. There's lots of things that they teach you in dental hygiene school: techniques, instrumentation, treatments, oral anatomy, just to name a few categories. And by and large, I think dental hygiene schools do a great job of teaching the trade of dental hygiene. But oftentimes they don't cover enough the tools and the strategies that you need to get a job at the end, which is both kind of ironic and unfortunate when you think about it. One of the specific things that they don't teach in dental hygiene school is the anatomy of a resume design. And, you know, to be honest with you, I wouldn't expect it. It's not something that they want to probably spend a whole lot of time on, or they feel like they need to spend a whole lot of time on. They want to get you certified and ready to practice, but they don't teach you a whole lot about creating a great resume design. And so I'm going to talk about that today. First step, and there's about 10 of these, so I'll go really quick. First one is to make sure that you only have your one page for your resume. Now, there are situations where that could be a little bit different. You might find that there are some hygienists out there who have been in the field for 30 plus years, or they have different kinds of dental experience outside of clinical dental hygiene. And for those folks, sometimes it does make sense to have more than one page. But for most clinical hygienists who've been in the field 20 years or less, it really should be just a one-page resume. Just keep it really simple, less intimidating for employers to get through it and feel like they can get a grasp of who you are. This is just a teaser. It's not a way for you to communicate everything about yourself. It's just a way to get your foot in the door. So keep it to one page. Second, chemistry. The overall chemistry, things like graphics and columns and your color and your bullets and font treatments and sections and white space, they all need to complement one another. They all need to help kind of grab attention, and they all need to be consistent so that they allow an employer to easily navigate the resume and find the key things that they're looking for. Second thing is the bullets, or actually the third thing. The third thing is the bullets. Always look for an opportunity to put a list into bullets. I see a lot of resumes that are just in paragraph format that list all the things, the skills and the background information about a person in a paragraph, a big long paragraph, and that's just not the way to do it. Put it really, really simply into bullets and try to keep those onto one line each if you can, if at all possible. The only exception to that is when you start to put it into columns, that sometimes your bullets will wrap, and that's okay. But really try hard to look at your bullets and find opportunities to save space in there and keep them very short and succinct. And that brings me into the next thing, which is columns of text. You want to find a place in there to break up your text, your different sections. And one of the great ways to break it up and make the resume overall look a little bit more interesting is to add an element of columns in there. And I usually do that within the section that would be called the skills or the competencies section, where you list the things that you are proficient at, or the experiences that you've had that moved the needle for your office, that did things that stood out, things that accomplishments and things that have achieved. Those are the kind of places that you might want to look at putting columns of text. The next section would be the graphics. The next thing I want to talk about would be the graphics. Think about graphics as sort of a visual tour guide to your resume. They kind of accentuate key sections and places and put emphasis on certain sections. But they're also a way to kind of show creativity and flair, and I think people like that. It's kind of like a mental break, if you will, from reading something. If you see something that's colorful or graphical, it gives your mind a chance to sort of rest from reading, and the eyeballs tend to gravitate towards those graphics because they're very simple and easy for a person to digest what it is that you're trying to communicate. So I always encourage, try to include graphics, things like lines. Your picture is a great way to do that. Just different ways to incorporate visuals. And then the next one is color. Just like graphics, color is a very important part to grab people's attention. And I'm not talking about a lot of different colors. You don't want to make it a jumbled mess, but you want to add some accentuating colors in some strategic places, just to create sort of an accent and to grab attention in a very simplified fashion, not to overwhelm, but just in a very professional and complementary fashion. The next one would be increasing the font sizes. The most important text on your resume is your name, and you definitely need to increase the font size on that. I see a lot of resumes that are in the exact same font size as the rest of the text on the resume, and it doesn't make your name stand out. Obviously, you're de-emphasizing it, and that's the most important thing on your resume is your name. You want them to know who you are, what your name is. So I recommend putting that into a 24 to 36 point size range, just kind of depending on how big your name is and the spacing that you have available. And then the only other place that I would suggest using a little bit larger font size might be your section headers. The place where you have your education, work experience, skills and competencies. Those section headings, you can put those at about 14 to 18 point range roughly, which is about roughly half the size of your name. So increase the font sizes. The next thing is bold. You want to use bold sparingly. You don't want to just completely splatter the page with it. You just want to kind of use it in certain strategic places, subheaders, areas where you want to kind of bring out the name of something in particular. I usually use it for the names of the schools that you graduated from or school that you graduated from, and then maybe the offices that you worked at. Just kind of accentuate, break up the text a little bit, make that part kind of stand out a little bit more, and that's about it for bold. The next one is white space. Add some white space to your resume. Don't settle for the sometimes stuffy single space that between lines of text that people will put on a resume. Don't just do single spacing. Use double spacing. Well, not double, but maybe more like 1.15 or 1 to 1.5. Just give it a little bit of a breathing room, each of your lines of text. It gives it a more of a clean look and a feel. It looks sharp, and it's makes it look very simple to read, less intimidating to read. And then the final one is thicker paper. Invest in some nice stock of paper that has a weight. Sometimes between the weight would be sometimes between the standard copy paper and cardstock. So it's not overly heavy, but it's not your standard copy paper either. And I just think that this adds a touch of professionalism, and it conveys an air of strength, and that's what you want. But avoid stock papers that have lots of textures. They tend to be really difficult to reproduce photos and other graphics on them very well. So just find a nice clean stock of paper that's somewhere in the weight of between a regular copy paper and a cardstock. And then one final additional note that I wanted to make mention of is to never, ever, ever send your resume in Microsoft Word format. Create a PDF file of that. And the reason that you want to do that is because oftentimes when you send a Word document, you may think that it's going to look the way you look at it on your screen, but sometimes somebody may not have, the receiving end may not have the exact same fonts that you do, and that can really mess up the way your resume looks. Their computer will try to replace your font with their font, and it just messes up the whole look. So always create a PDF file of your resume, and it'll look exactly as it looks on your screen for them. That's a very, very important tip. And so that's it for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have picked out something, maybe one or two things that will be really helpful for you. Check out our website. We have lots and lots of free tips at gethiredrdh.com. And as always, feel free to email me or call me with your questions, and I'd love to help you out. So keep up the good fight, and good luck with finding a job. There's lots of opportunities out there. Keep your head high and stay positive, stay focused, work hard at it, and do everything you can to land a great dental hygiene job. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening to the Get Hired RDH 10-minute training session. For more information, visit gethiredrdh.com, or you can reach Coach Perry at 801-683-9664 or Doug at gethiredrdh.com.